I'm peeling. Hello everybody, today I thought I would do a video all about my trip to Bali because I know a lot of you are interested and I've had a lot of questions. Whether it was a honeymoon, Olivia, if you're out there, this one's for you. Loads of people have asked actually if it was a honeymoon, and no, like no. I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to say this, I'm probably gonna have to do it in every single video, but Pip and I are not together. She has a girlfriend and I'm very much straight, so. But I obviously spoke about how I came home early, and yeah, I just wanted to talk you through the whole experience and like what I've learned and why I came home early and everything like that. Obviously a lot of you know that I was quite stressed about going to Bali. I am off on holiday next fucking week. Next week I'm going to Bali. I am excited. I'm just very anxious about it too. I really don't want this video to come across as like me being ungrateful or anything like that, because Bali was probably one of the best things I could have done. It really pushed me out of my comfort zone, but it's taught me a lot about myself, which shocked me a bit because I thought I knew myself extremely very well. I do know myself well, but it taught me more. I don't know how to explain it. Basically I just avoided even thinking about it because I was really anxious about going. Yeah, I was working more beforehand. I was really stressing about YouTube. I was putting myself in such a routine, which meant that everything I did was avoidance of even thinking about going to Bali. And in all honesty, I didn't even realise I was doing that until I went to Bali. And the problems that I had in Bali were just because I was not mentally prepared for going, because I didn't even let myself think about it, if that makes sense. So we left for Bali on the 31st of May. Initially I was supposed to come back I think on the 16th, and Pip's still out there having the best time, like she's parasailing, she's fucking jumping off waterfalls and that. So she stayed for a month, but I wasn't able to do that because of work. I didn't have enough holiday basically. We got a plane from Birmingham, and from Birmingham we took a 7-hour flight to Dubai, and then 9-hour layover, and then we went on another 9-hour flight to Bali. Now when we were going out to Bali, we were actually volunteering there, which, can I just say, volunteering was like the best thing ever. I was just enamoured with these little children. They were just so adorable, like I couldn't get enough of them. Because of jet lag, and obviously both Pip and I are we freak out a bit. We get overwhelmed quite quickly. We decided to give ourselves 2 nights before we went to the volunteer house. So we stayed in like this incredible hotel. It was absolutely beautiful. Central. A bit red, but I think it's just hot. Yeah, it is very hot, but we've got aircon. It's so nice though. Oh God, it's so nice. We're fucking Bali. Bali. And it was just incredible, and I had the best night's sleep ever. Wasn't really jet lagged when I got there, not really at all. The next day we like went to the beach and that, and my anxiety was like fine here because I was speaking to my mum when I got back, and I think the problem I had was that I went to Bali initially and we went to this hotel and it was great and I felt good, and that was like one change, and then we then went to the volunteer house and that was like a second change, and I'm not very good with change, so I'm scared I got lipstick on my teeth, because in the last video I had so much lipstick on my teeth I was worried that people would comment on it. So yeah, I think the second change was what kind of threw me off, because I was like, I'm just not very good with change ever. really. The only thing I found really difficult, like I mentioned in my last video, if you haven't seen it I'll link it down below, was the fact that I got so many questions about my arms. And I'm not going to go into it too much again because I did speak about it in my last video, but basically the people who were the residents there had literally no idea what was on my arms, and so would very bluntly ask me what was on there. Like they'd go, "What is that?" And I'd be like, "Oh my god, stop please." And then someone asking me so much about my arms, like people, it made me think that people at the volunteer house would. So anyway, we went to the volunteer house. I'll insert videos of what it was like. It was incredible. But I thought there would be like 15 volunteers and there was actually 69. 69, and there was this massive house. It had like 3 parts, so there was like another house, and then the house that we were staying in had 2 parts, so there was like 2 floors in one house, and then in the same location there was like a 4-story building that people stayed in, and it was massive, and it was in like this little village in Tabernan. And to be honest, I think this is where I started to like struggle, because I'd been asked so much about my arms. It really made me upset, because like the only way I could describe myself, I felt like an actual monster, and it was awful. And like now I know that that's not the case, but I really did feel like a monster. And because there were so many people and I hadn't anticipated that, I didn't want to be, right, you know, so when you're in a situation and someone's talking about someone else and they're like, "Oh, so I was talking to, you know, Margaret, and Margaret was saying this," and then someone else is like, "Who's Margaret?" And you'd go, "Oh, Margaret, she's the tall one with the long hair, you know, she was wearing that blue top today." And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I know Margaret." I didn't want to be, and this is so shallow of me, but I didn't want to be the girl that was like, "Who's Marie?" And they're like, "Oh, you know, the one with the self-harm scars." Like, I just didn't want to be that girl. So I wore like long sleeves and long trousers for like the first few days, and it really made me uncomfortable just because it was so hot. Like, it was gorgeous, but it was so hot. But regardless of that bit, it was incredible. And again, I don't want this to seem like Bali was like an awful experience, because it wasn't. I'm just going to chat you through what I found anxious and then what I found good, if that makes sense. Like, we'll finish on the best bits. And then eventually I kind of, with Pip's help, like, can I just say, Pip is like the you need to get yourself a Pip, because she was like the best person to be around. Like, she was never like forceful and was like, "You need to show your arms," or like, "Just show them." She was like, "No, like, if you want to wear a long sleeve, that's cool, like, whatever." Like, she got quite sunburned, and it was so sweet. She was like, I'll be the centre of attention, so if people ask me if I'm burnt, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm burnt." Like, so it just takes away from that, and I'm like, "You're just the best." So I started to like wear short sleeves at breakfast, and then eventually I was just like, "Nah, whatever, don't care." And that was fine. That was like the first hurdle. It was just such like a massive change, and I just wasn't ready for it, really. And I think that's the only thing. The only problem was really me, and I don't really know how to describe it other than, like, the place was beautiful. The people who were like volunteering with were better than I could ever ask for. Like, the food was great, everything was great. It was like having like 1,000-piece jigsaw. This is the only way I can kind of make you understand. It's like having 1,000-piece jigsaw and like putting it all together and being able to see this like beautiful image, and everything's so perfect, and then you get to like the last piece, and the last piece isn't like the centerpiece or anything. It's like on the side, on the edge a bit, you know, not very obvious, but the last piece is like completely black, and all the picture's rubbed off. So when you put it in the picture, it all looks great until you like zoom in on that bit and you notice. I just felt like I didn't fit in, really. I'm not very good with crowds, and I find like it's so weird. I find meeting people quite easy. I can make small talk quite easy, even though I hate it. I can do it. After, you know, up to an hour, I'm so drained and I need time to kind of go and like regenerate by myself. But we were sharing a room with like 8 girls, so there was just nowhere for privacy, and I just found that difficult, really. When we got to the house, I was getting really het up. That's the only way I can describe it. And I was saying, like, I said to Pip, like, I called my dad and I was like, "I just want to come home, like, I don't think I'm cut out for this." And he was saying like, "That's fine, just book a flight, like, come home, it's fine. And Pip was like, you want to go home? And I was like, yeah, I really want to go home. She was like, how about we work through till the weekend? So this was like Wednesday, so I'd been there for like 3 or 4 days, and she was like, well, how about we just work through till we go to Gili Island, and then you can decide what you want to do then. And it's so weird, right? Okay, so I really wanted to book a flight home, but because my dad told me that I was like, I should book, like, I could book a flight home, it made me not want to do it. I don't know how my brain works. And Pip really was like, let's just try it. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's just do that. So after that, things got easier. I met some incredible people there. Like, we just chill and chat about deep shit all the time, like all night. And it was really good. So we went on these things called, like, I think they're called Beamers or Beamos. And they're basically like a little van, but the doors doesn't close. And it was mad because you'd just be sat. So if you were sat right in front of the door, if they just like slammed on the brakes, which they often did, you just fly out. And they'd also have like offerings. So where we stayed with this family who were just, the mum was a gorgeous, like she was just a little like gem, and her son was like the volunteer like leader, like the guide, and we lived in their house, and the nan would sit outside the kitchen all day and make offerings. So we were like really intrigued about what the offerings meant, and they would just leave them on the street. They were like little boxes, like so intricately made out of like straw, and she'd just make them all day. And their culture's very spiritual, and like we heard some stories when we were there about how spiritual they were, but it meant that you'd put out, the offerings were like good vibes and like good spirits and all of that, and bad people would then be able to take the good from them. It was mad, and I'm very into that kind of stuff, so I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. We went to Kuta and Pip surfed, and the beach was black sand, which was so cool. I did not surf because I'm not a very strong swimmer, and these waves, like Pip has some pictures of her like surfing. I'll leave them for her to put in, obviously, if she wants to do a video. But these waves are massive, and in the pictures they don't even look that big, but they were so big, and I was just not really cut out for that. I've never had a swimming lesson, so you know. That weekend we went to Gili Tea, which is one of the Gili Islands, and it was incredible. So we got this like massive boat there. And we just sat at the top, we drank some bintang, some radler, and it was just so cool because I've never ever been on anything like that, like never been on a boat or any. I've been on a kayak, but not like a nice boat. It was so mad in Gili Tea, like so mad, because there's no transport there other than boats, scooters or horses, or bikes. So we got bikes, we hired bikes, and we spent all day on the bikes one time because we got so lost. Because obviously we didn't have like maps or 3G there because it was like so far away and it would cost us so much money. But we spent like 45 minutes getting to the beach when it was literally like 300 meters away because we got so lost. I didn't use any of the horses because I really did not like the way they were being treated. I thought it was quite mean, but whatever. But yeah, the bikes were so cool. We were a bit like eat, pray, love, you know, like riding through the villages, like yeah. And then we went out that night. We went on a bar crawl, which again was so good.
Welcome to Gili Tea. So for your second shot, you can just put the powder in there.
You did two, Marie.
Do you ever get the moments where you just like stop for a minute and you're like, is this real? Like, is this actually what I'm experiencing? Because it's just so mad. I don't know if that's just me. Yeah, so we travelled all the way home from Gili Tea, so we left at like 10 in the morning, and then we got back to our original place in Tabernan for 6, and then I left for my flight at 7:30, and my flight wasn't until midnight, so I was actually dead. And the reason I came home was because my anxiety and my stress levels were not good. Like I was crying most nights because I was just so, I don't know, I just felt really anxious all the time. And I don't really talk about anxiety because I'm normally quite good at managing it. I just know when I'm anxious and I know what to do, and it normally stops it. But on this trip I was getting so many lapses of anxiety where I literally was like couldn't speak and like wanted to cry the whole time. Like not the whole time, but whilst I was experiencing it, and it was just difficult. But here's what I've learned. So I've learned that I really need to kind of push myself out of my comfort zone, because I have not been out of my comfort zone. I don't even know the last time I actually went out of my comfort zone. I think it was when I applied to college in like 2016, and that was the last time I was like, whoa, this is a big thing, like this is really testing. So I think this was like the first time I was really out of my comfort zone and really out of my depth. But I'm so happy I did it, because when I was there I didn't see going across the country as anything like to be proud of. But now I know that it is, because when we were there, like a lot of people have been traveling for like 3 months. They've gone to like Sri Lanka and Cambodia and Vietnam and then Bali. So me going to Bali for 2 weeks, everyone was like, why are you going for 2 weeks? Like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. But it was a big enough thing for me, and I know that and to be honest, I've just learned that I don't know if I'm that type of person. I don't know if I could handle being around like 70 people constantly. I know that if I was ever going to do something like that again, which I really want to, because experiencing like the culture, I'd want to go back and like really learn about it and like go to the temples and all stuff like that. I'd want to actually plan it before, whereas this time I didn't really plan anything. I was just kind of avoiding even thinking about it. I would do it in a way that I knew that I felt like more comfortable, so basically with just less people. And also what I learned was like, even though I was so out of my comfort zone, it really made me appreciate everything good at home. So like my home and like being with Albie and like my mum and dad is my comfort zone. Like I feel really safe at home, I feel happy when I'm at home, and that is my comfort zone. So going away made me just appreciate how lucky I am to be able to have such a safe place at home, and it really made me look forward to coming back. But I also just learned that like everyone's so different, and I have this awful mentality of like, I don't need any more friends. Like I know that sounds so like bitchy or snobby, but it's kind of like my defense. I'm like, no, I have great friends, like I don't need any more friends. So I'm like kind of, I don't really tend to like make new friends. But going there just made me realise like I can learn so much from other people, and it was really fun. Like it was fun. Like I don't know, going out of your comfort zone is so scary but can be so fun. And I know a lot of people would probably see like going home early as not an achievement, but for me it was an achievement because I still stayed a week longer than I was going to anyway. Yeah, if that makes sense. And oh my god, it's also taught me that Instagram is a lie, guys. Instagram is just one big lie. I never really thought about that before, but on this trip I was posting on Instagram because I wanted to post the fun things, and like the swing that Pip and I went on was incredible and I wanted to post them all. But then I'm also like, oh my god, I'm just lying to people. So I asked for a few quick questions on my Instagram. I'll probably delete this post soon because this video is going to end. So what were your favourite and least favourite things about the trip? Raina asked. So favourite things were the people that I met and the places that I saw, and my least favourite bit was the lack of privacy, and yeah, the lack of privacy. When I went there, there were lizards everywhere. Did you see any? No, I actually only saw one tiny lizard and that was it. I didn't see any lizards. So Anya says, why'd you come home early? So I came home early just because I realised that that was the right thing to do in terms of not stressing myself out more and realising that I'd already achieved a lot, and I felt like I'd reached my limit and I was happy with that because I was out of my depth anyway, so it was just kind of anxiety reasons. Oh my god, everyone's been so sweet. So Olivia asked, how did you manage the long flights? Love your video so much, so thank you so much, Olivia. I was so tired, but when I got on the flight I had some of my old Zopiclone, and if you don't know what Zopiclone is, it's like a sleeping tablet, but it's like I hate that tablet, like I never take it anymore because it makes me just feel shit. It's so like, oh, it's just an awful drug really. It's so addictive as well. But I had one of them from my old ones, so I took it, and I'm not even joking, on a 9-hour flight I woke up with like half an hour left. Half an hour. I was gone. I was so gone. How do I manage the long flights? In all honesty, they were fine. Like, I'm okay with flying, so I'm probably not the best person. Like Pip gets anxious about flying, so she found it harder like taking off and that. But in all honesty, like you got blankets, you got pillows, like they had so many films. So what I did is I had loads of audiobooks to listen to, I had my book, and then I was watching the films as well. And that kind of kept me occupied as well as sleep. I did only take the Zopiclone once, so the other ones I didn't, and I just kind of dozed really and watched a few films. They had like literally like 100 films on there. There were so many, so that's how I kind of coped with it, and it was fine. Like, it was really fine. And I would also say, tip, if you're going to do long flights or any flights really, check in beforehand because it makes it so much easier. And choose your seat if you can, because that's always reassuring to know that you will be on the aisle seat. That's all I say. So that's basically Bali summed up. It was incredible, challenging, but so worth it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow with a Mental Health Monday.